Have you ever wondered why you keep falling into the same emotional traps, no matter how hard you try to break free? It's frustrating, isn't it? You promise yourself things will be different, but somehow you end up right back where you started, stuck in a cycle of self-doubt, negative patterns, and emotional resistance. Here's the kicker. It's not because you're lazy or incapable. The truth is, your brain is wired to cling to the familiar, even when it's harmful. And unless you understand the hidden forces driving your behavior, change will always feel just out of reach. But here's the good news. You're not broken, and you're not doomed to repeat the same mistakes forever. The key lies in uncovering the roots of your patterns. Those invisible threads tied to childhood dynamics, attachment styles, and the inner voices you've internalized over the years. Once you see these patterns for what they are, you can start rewriting the script of your emotional life. Imagine waking up one day and realizing you were no longer held back by the same fears or triggers. Sounds liberating, doesn't it? In this journey, we'll explore why these patterns exist, how they shape your relationships, and, most importantly, how to break free. You'll learn practical tools like journaling, mindfulness, and self-compassion to help you take control of your emotional growth. So, if you are ready to stop spinning your wheels and finally create the change you've been craving, let's dive in. The answers you've been searching for might be closer than you think. Negative inner voices don't just appear out of nowhere. They're echoes of the external voices we've absorbed, often during childhood. Imagine a child repeatedly hearing phrases like, "You are not good enough," or "Why can't you be more like them?" Over time, those words become the foundation of their inner dialogue. It's not just about what was said, but how it was said. Tone, repetition, and timing shape how deeply these messages embed themselves. The tricky part? These voices often disguise themselves as truths, making it hard to question them. Our environment plays a massive role in shaping this internal narrative. Parents, teachers, peers, they all contribute to the language we use to speak to ourselves. For instance, a parent who constantly criticizes might unknowingly plant seeds of self-doubt, while a teacher who praises effort over results might nurture resilience. It's not always about trauma. Even subtle everyday interactions can leave lasting imprints. Recognizing this influence is the first step toward rewriting the script. But here's the kicker. These voices aren't set in stone. They're patterns, and like any pattern, they can be unlearned. Think of it like updating an old operating system. It takes time, but it's possible. Start by noticing when these voices show up. Are they louder when you're stressed? Do they mimic someone from your past? This self-awareness is key to breaking free. Have you ever felt something so deeply but couldn't find the words to describe it? That's the power and the limitation of emotional vocabulary. The truth is, naming an emotion gives you control over it. It's like shining a flashlight into a dark room. Suddenly, what felt overwhelming becomes manageable. For example, instead of saying, "I'm upset," try pinpointing it. Are you frustrated, disappointed, or maybe even embarrassed? Each word carries its own weight and clarity, helping you understand what's really going on. Building an emotional vocabulary is like learning a new language. It takes practice, but the rewards are immense. Imagine being able to articulate exactly what you were feeling during a heated argument or a tough day at work. Instead of bottling it up or lashing out, you can say, "I feel unheard," or "I'm overwhelmed." This not only helps you process your emotions, but also improves your communication with others. Relationships thrive when we can express ourselves clearly and authentically. But here's the catch. Most of us weren't taught this skill. Schools teach math and grammar, but rarely how to decode our emotional lives. The good news? It's never too late to start. Journaling, mindfulness, or even keeping a list of emotions handy can help you expand your emotional vocabulary. And as you grow in this area, you'll notice something remarkable. Your ability to break free from negative patterns becomes stronger. Breaking free from negative patterns is no easy feat. It's like trying to unlearn a habit you've practiced for years. These patterns often feel comfortable, even when they're harmful, because they're familiar. Think about it. How many times have you caught yourself reacting the same way in similar situations, even when you know it's not serving you? That's the grip of emotional resistance. Change requires patience, self-awareness, and a willingness to sit with discomfort. It's not about flipping a switch, it's about rewiring your emotional life, one small step at a time. The biggest trap people fall into is expecting instant results. Emotional growth doesn't work like a crash diet. It's more like planting a garden. You water it, nurture it, and wait for it to bloom. For instance, if you're trying to stop self-critical thoughts, don't expect them to vanish overnight. Instead, start by noticing when they arise. Acknowledge them without judgment and gently redirect your focus. Over time, this practice creates new neural pathways, making positive patterns more accessible. Here's a practical tip. When you feel stuck in a negative loop, try interrupting it with mindfulness. Pause, take a deep breath, and ask yourself, what am I feeling right now? What triggered this? This simple act of self-awareness can break the cycle and open the door to healing. And if you're looking for a tool to deepen this awareness, let's talk about the transformative power of journaling in the next section. Journaling is like having a conversation with yourself, a safe space where your thoughts, emotions, and experiences can spill out without fear of judgment. When life feels chaotic, putting pen to paper helps you untangle the mess. For example, if you're overwhelmed by a conflict, writing down what happened, how you felt, and what you wish you'd said can bring clarity. It's not about perfection. It's about giving your inner voices a place to be heard so they don't run wild in your mind. One of the most powerful aspects of journaling is its ability to reveal patterns you didn't even know existed. As you reflect on your entries, you might notice recurring themes, like how certain situations trigger feelings of inadequacy, or how you tend to avoid vulnerability in relationships. These insights are gold. They give you a roadmap to understand your emotional blocks and start rewriting your narrative. Even 5 minutes a day can make a difference, so don't underestimate the power of this simple practice. If you're not sure where to start, try prompts like, "What's been weighing on my mind lately?" or "What emotion am I avoiding today?" Over time, you'll notice how this habit strengthens your self-awareness and emotional vocabulary. And as you dig deeper into your reflections, you may uncover connections to childhood dynamics that shaped your current patterns. Our childhood experiences are like the blueprint for how we navigate the world as adults. The way we were spoken to, the dynamics we observed, and the emotions we were allowed, or not allowed, to express all shape our inner world. For instance, a child who grew up in a home where emotions were dismissed might struggle to identify or validate their own feelings later in life. These early dynamics often become the foundation for our attachment styles, coping mechanisms, and even the way we talk to ourselves. But here's the thing. Those patterns aren't set in stone. They're like old scripts that can be rewritten with enough self-awareness and effort. For example, if you notice you avoid conflict because it reminds you of chaotic childhood arguments, that awareness is the first step toward change. You can start practicing healthier communication, even if it feels uncomfortable at first. Recognizing how your past influences your present isn't about blaming. It's about reclaiming your emotional life and stepping into self-authorship. The beauty of this process is that it gives you the power to break generational cycles. By revisiting and editing the beliefs you inherited, you can create a new narrative for yourself and even for those around you. And as you work through these patterns, you'll start to see how they show up in your relationships, especially in the way you connect with others. Attachment styles are like the invisible threads that weave through our relationships, shaping how we connect, communicate, and even handle conflict. Whether you lean toward anxious attachment, avoidant attachment, or something in between, these patterns often stem from childhood dynamics. For example, someone with an anxious attachment style might constantly seek reassurance in relationships, fearing abandonment. On the other hand, someone with an avoidant attachment style might struggle to open up, fearing vulnerability. These tendencies can feel frustrating, but they're not a life sentence. They're a starting point for growth. Understanding your attachment style is like being handed a map to your emotional life. It helps you see why you react the way you do in relationships, and more importantly, how to change it. Let's say you tend to withdraw when conflict arises. Instead of shutting down, you can practice staying present and expressing your feelings, even if it's uncomfortable. Small shifts like this can transform not only how you relate to others, but also how you relate to yourself. relationships become less about fear and more about connection. The beauty of this journey is that it's not something you have to do alone. Healthy relationships can be a space for healing, where both partners grow together. But sometimes, the deeper work requires professional guidance. That's where psychotherapy comes in. A space to explore the roots of these patterns and uncover the hidden doors to emotional freedom. Therapy is often misunderstood as a place to fix yourself. But it's so much more than that. It's a space for self-discovery. A skilled therapist acts like a guide, helping you navigate the complex terrain of your emotional life. They don't just listen. They help you uncover the roots of your negative patterns, like why you might disassociate during stress, or why certain triggers feel so overwhelming. Think of therapy as a flashlight that illuminates the hidden corners of your psyche, revealing doors you didn't even know existed. Unlike mindfulness or meditation, which focus on the present moment, therapy dives into the past to understand how it shaped your present. For example, a therapist might help you connect your fear of rejection to childhood dynamics, where love felt conditional. This awareness doesn't just explain your behavior, it empowers you to change it. Through this process, you can develop healthier coping mechanisms, build emotional resilience, and even rewrite the narrative you've been living by. But therapy isn't just about the heavy stuff. It's also a space to celebrate your growth and progress. It's where you learn to embrace your imperfections and practice self-compassion. The insights you gain in therapy ripple out into every area of your life, from your relationships to your sense of self. And as you cultivate this deeper understanding, you'll find it easier to accept your flaws with grace. Self-compassion is like offering yourself a warm hug on your worst days. It's the practice of treating yourself with the same kindness you'd show a friend. Yet, so many of us are quick to criticize ourselves for every mistake, as if perfection were the only option. Here's the truth: imperfection is part of being human. For instance, if you've ever caught yourself thinking, "I should have handled that better," pause and ask, "What would I say to a friend in this situation?" That simple shift can soften the harshness of your inner voice. Accepting imperfection doesn't mean giving up on growth. It means recognizing that your flaws are part of your story, not the whole story. Think about the defense mechanisms you've developed over the years. Maybe you avoid conflict or overthink every decision. These behaviors likely served a purpose at some point in your life, protecting you in ways you didn't even realize. Instead of resenting them, try thanking them for their role and gently letting them go when they no longer serve you. Humor and humility can also be powerful tools in this journey. Laughing at your quirks and missteps doesn't diminish their importance. It lightens the load. Life is messy, and that's okay. The more you embrace this messiness, the more room you create for emotional growth and healing. And as you cultivate self-compassion, you'll find it easier to approach life's challenges with curiosity instead of fear. So, here's the big question. Are you ready to stop living on autopilot and start taking charge of your emotional life? Breaking free from negative patterns isn't easy, but it's absolutely worth it. Imagine what your life could look like if you stopped letting those inner voices hold you back. What if you could replace self-doubt with self-awareness, fear with curiosity, and emotional blocks with emotional growth? The truth is, the power to change has always been within you. You just need the right tools to unlock it. Now, it's your turn to take action. What's one small step you can take today? Maybe it's journaling about a recurring thought, practicing mindfulness during a stressful moment, or even reaching out to someone you trust to talk about your feelings. Change doesn't happen overnight, but every small step adds up. And remember, you don't have to do this alone. Share your thoughts in the comments. What patterns are you ready to break? What's holding you back? Let's start a conversation and support each other in this journey. If you found this helpful, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. That way, you'll never miss out on more insights and tools to help you grow emotionally and transform your relationships. Together, we can create a life that feels lighter, freer, and more aligned with who you truly are. Let's make it happen.